President Trump and Kim Jong-un have decided on details this hour. An update this morning on the city's plan to protect the Lido Key Beach shoreline. And honors for a police officer, how he was able to save a child who was running down the highway. Good morning, Suncoast starts right now. Good morning. It is 5:01, June the 12th, Tuesday. I'm Ray Collins. Stephanie Webb will be here next hour for us. First, John Scalzi has the Tuesday forecast. Hey, John.
Good morning, Ray. Looking at some pretty quiet conditions once again, very similar to yesterday. We've got some showers out in Gulf waters that are really not threatening the coastline at this hour. There could be a little bit of slight drizzle right along the immediate barrier islands. We could see a brief shower there, a Holmes Beach up around Anna Maria. Otherwise, we're looking at pretty quiet conditions as we have a fair amount of cloud cover that kind of streams by from time to time. I think our daytime highs today will again be warm in the upper 80s, just as they were yesterday, with about a 20% chance of showers today. We'll have the complete forecast, including a look at the tropics, coming up in just a few.
All right, talk to you soon. Thank you, John. Checking first alert traffic now. Little build up there as you head down toward downtown Bradenton. Otherwise, pretty clear in Manatee County. Checking farther south now on the maps, we'll see a little blip there, tiny blip there at the 301-41 intersection. And then our final map for the south will indicate nothing to speak of so far at 5:02 on your Tuesday morning. Well, as you've been watching, President Trump says the Singapore summit was honest, direct, and productive. As ABC's Tara Palmieri tells us, the two leaders signed a deal just after midnight Eastern Time.
A 5-hour meeting between President Trump and Kim Jong-un, ending with a promise.
역사적인 이 만남에서
We had a historic meeting and decided to leave the past behind. The world will see a major change.
President Trump forming a friendship with the North Korean leader and then signing an agreement.
We have developed a very special bond. It worked out for both of us far better than anybody could have expected.
In that letter, President Trump agreed to provide security guarantees to North Korea in exchange for Kim's, quote, firm and unwavering commitment to complete denuclearization of the Korean peninsula. The president sitting down with ABC's chief anchor, George Stephanopoulos.
I think he wants to denuke. It's very important. Without that, there's nothing to discuss.
It all started with that historic handshake, and then the smiles and pats on the back. President Trump leading Kim Jong-un into that private one-on-one, where he looked into his eyes and came out saying,
A really fantastic meeting. A lot of progress.
Their one-on-one lasting about 40 minutes. This after months of throwing barbs and threatening nuclear war. The North Korean leader in on the theatrics of the historic moment. The president throwing a risky tease to a leader he once mocked as short and fat when he asked the photographers to make them look thin.
Getting a good picture of everybody so we look nice and handsome and thin.
The president showing off his ride, the Beast, and then ending the day with a signing and an invite to the White House. The agreement states that because of this summit, the two countries have overcome, quote, decades of tensions and hostilities. Now the follow-through on this commitment is what will define this historic moment. Tara Palmieri, ABC News, Singapore.
Discussions. We talked to a local expert on the Singapore summit, and he says the whole thing has been very unusual from the start. Our Marla Spence explains. She's live now in the studio with us. Marla?
Hey, Ray, this morning, people all over the world, including local political expert Mark Weston, are waiting in anticipation on what was exactly discussed. Weston is a presidential author, but has also written about politics in the Far East. He predicted expectations of the summit could be very low. He says, unusually, when two heads of states get together for an agreement, 90% of the negotiations have already been figured out, and both leaders are just finalizing small points. Weston says that's not the case here, which makes this historic meeting quite unusual.
That's not the case here. So the idea that a whole nuclear agreement can be negotiated in a couple of days is naive.
Weston says since preliminary negotiations were not discussed between President Donald Trump and Kim Jong-un, it could create some cause for concern between the two leaders. What he says could potentially happen between both leaders is coming up at 5:30. Back to you, Ray.
All right, talk to you then. Thank you, Marla Spence. Other news now, Northport residents had a chance to meet the finalists for police chief last night. There are 3 candidates left from the 82 who initially applied. They'll replace Chief Kevin Vespia, who retired at the end of March. Captain Chris Morales is the interim chief. The 3 finalists include Ralph Anthony, who most recently served as the deputy chief of the police at the Tampa International Airport, Todd Garrison, a captain with the Lee County Sheriff's Office, and Paul Grochowski, a police chief for a community college in California.
We're very fortunate to have some good candidates. I don't think we can go wrong. It's really just picking somebody that fits with us and hopefully move this growing department and growing city in the right direction.
We're trying to find the right fit for Northport because we've had some issues in Northport with the PD and it's growing rapidly.
The Northport city manager is expected to make a decision on the new chief as soon as next week. Now, one of those names, Grochowski, is also a finalist for the job as police chief of the Sarasota County's new school district police department. So it's either Grochowski or Michael Wiggins, who is currently a captain for the sheriff's office in Polk County. Now, in the wake of the state mandate, all schools statewide are required to have an armed security guard in the school, and that includes 53 schools in Sarasota County alone. They expect to pick a police chief for the district in Sarasota sometime today. The homeless population is down locally 18% from last year. That's the estimate from the Suncoast Partnership to End Homelessness. Officials there say there's a tangible change. After hiring a consultant, Sarasota County decided to focus on a housing-first approach where the most chronically homeless are treated first. They were placed in housing with varying degrees of assistance for rent.
The change in every aspect of what we're doing has resulted in a different feeling in the community, a different feeling among the providers of services, that we're really beginning to have the serious impact that we always hope to have.
DeMarco says there are still challenges like funding. He says there are still 4,000 homeless on Suncoast streets. An update now on the city of Sarasota's plan to re-nourish the Lido Beach shoreline. The city manager says it's been approved for more than $13 million in federal funding. Commissioners asked the state for the funds only a week ago after declaring a local state of emergency last month. City Manager Tom Barwin says the protection project will start sometime in the near future. Work has begun to turn 1-acre plot in Hawaii into the island's second village for volcano eruption evacuees. The land belongs to a church. So far, its congregation raised enough to build 10 tiny homes. The pastor says right now he's asking the community for donations for more units and to cover the cost of utilities.
There's no water there, so we got to put up water catchment systems. There's no power there, so we're either looking at either generator or getting a temporary power from the county.
Well, the hope is to have the project completed next month. President Trump will stop in Hawaii on his way back from Singapore in the summit. Details on his itinerary have not yet been released, but the White House says he plans to visit Pearl Harbor. The president was last in Hawaii in November with the First Lady Melania. Consumer news now. Tyson's Foods is recalling over 3,000 pounds of frozen breaded chicken. Federal food safety investigators say the breading may contain pieces of plastic. The recall involves frozen chicken tenderloins with the code P746 in the packaging. The company says the affected products were shipped out to 6 states, but the recipients were only food service establishments, not grocery stores. The health risk from the recalled chicken has been classified as low. And a 15-year-old California girl wanted to share a special milestone with her father, but he's an illegal immigrant being held right now in a detention center, so she got dressed up and came over to the center right there outside and had a dance there at the West County Detention Facility. He has been detained for 16 months. He was arrested by Immigration and Customs officials at a check-in appointment. The father came to the U.S. from Guatemala more than 20 years ago. He'll be deported unless a Circuit Court of Appeals orders his release. Still ahead on Good Morning Suncoast, an update this morning on a grandmother accused of putting kids in a dog cage in a car. And next half hour, Florida airboat operators could soon be required to undergo more training. What courses airboat operators could soon have to take. President Trump is still at the microphone right now in Singapore. We've got a live shot of the proceedings right there now. But first, here's John Scalzi with a picture of the local forecast.
We've got a few scattered showers out there on the maps. One just very close, just offshore, a couple miles offshore of Holmes Beach, and moving up toward Anna Maria. There might be a brief sprinkle there as this shower dissipates. Otherwise, none of the rain box or fog or wind or any other inclement weather item checked on our drive time forecast this morning. Should be just fine for your morning commute. We'll look for upper 70s on your way out, mid 80s on your way home, and the rain chances again today are pretty minimal. We'll talk about that and review the tropics coming up in just a few.
Everything all right?
Actually, you know how Tom had knee surgery?
Sure.
We found out Brad's been taking his painkillers. And it turns out he's been doing it for a while.
Most people don't know what to say about drugs, but we do. Visit us at drugfree.org.
We're losing exotic animals on a daily basis, and the ones that we have in captivity are really the ambassadors for their wild counterparts. I'm Clayton Rozier from the Big Cat Habitat and Gulf Coast Sanctuary, housing over 150 exotic animals that needed a great home. And if you love animals, please help them. Do it locally. Support your local no-kill shelters, your local wild animal sanctuaries. Make a difference where you can.
Every child follows a path in life. For many, that path will lead them to a door that gives them a place to grow, to learn, to belong, a place to forge their future. Because while many doors open, these doors transform. They did for us. Support your local boys and girls clubs. Great futures start here.
Our nation's servicemen and women show great courage and leadership, both on and off the battlefield. When they transition to civilian life, they can apply the skills and values they learned in the military to the workplace. That's why the Coalition to Salute America's Heroes is urging employers everywhere to be smart, bet on a vet. Hiring a veteran is also a great way to show your appreciation for them. To learn more, call 1-888-44-SALUTE.
Hi, I'm Janelle Hale, founder and CEO of the National Breast Cancer Foundation. No one should face breast cancer alone. When I was diagnosed 36 years ago, there was no internet, and I had to make a decision with little information. Early detection saved my life. It could save yours too. To learn what every woman needs to know about breast cancer, visit nbcf.org/hope.
Are you a soccer mom or dad? Regardless of their age or experience level, when your kids play soccer or any other sport, there's one person on the sideline who is key to help recognize and seek medical care for sports-related concussion. It's you. You need to know the signs and symptoms of concussion, and you need to act if you think your child has been injured. Remember, when in doubt, sit them out. To learn more, go to cdc.gov/concussion. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004.
We are going to rejoin President Trump at the microphone in Singapore.
No, I think he'll do it. I really believe that. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing this. I really believe it. It was really the engine testing site, in addition to all of the other things that they've agreed to do. It was they have a very powerful engine testing site that, again, we're able to see because of the heat that it emits. And yeah, I'm able to. I'm very happy. I'll tell you what, I'm very happy with those 2 points, the 2 points you mentioned, but I think you might be referring to the thing that's not in, which is the engine testing site. Honestly, I think he's going to do these things. I may be wrong. I mean, I may stand before you in 6 months and say, hey, I was wrong. I don't know that I'll ever admit that, but I'll find some kind of an excuse. Okay, one more. Come on. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, sure. Thank you. Thank you.
Jennifer Chen with Shenzhen Media Group China. I just would like to know, will you call Chinese President Xi when you come back to D.C.
Yes.
To discuss about achievements you made today with Chairman Peng? And what's your expectation about China's role to accelerate the process to establish a long-term peace mechanism?
Well, my expectation about China is that China is a great country with a great leader and a friend of mine. And I really believe that he's happy that we've made this kind of progress. And I've heard from him. But I will be calling him very shortly, maybe even before I land. Okay? And I have to say, you know, and the United States is a great country. And we have set records economically, over $7 trillion in net worth addition to what we have. And we are almost twice the size of the economy of the United States. Nobody talks about this because you do hear a lot about China, rightfully so. But the United States now is almost twice the size of the economy of China. We have a great country and we're on a correct path. Okay, one more, that'll be it. Oh, South Korea? Where's South Korea? I think you deserve, go ahead, go. You deserve one, yes. You deserve one.
I've got two questions for you, Mr. President. First, you mentioned earlier that you're going to talk with South Korean President Moon Jae-in over the phone. What do you plan to discuss with him?
I just want to tell him about the meeting. Very successful, and he'll be very much involved in the final negotiation. He's a very, very fine gentleman, also a friend of mine, and I look forward to speaking to him. He'll be very happy when he hears about, I've already sent word to him about what happened. I sent the document to him, actually, and all of the details behind the document. So I'll be talking to him very shortly.
If I may ask another question, in signing the peace treaty, do you plan to work this out with North Korea's Chairman Kim only, or what do you think about the involvement of South Korea and China as the signatories?
I'd like to have them involved also. There's a question as to whether or not we're supposed to or whether or not we legally have to. I don't care. I think it would be great to have China involved and also, of course, South Korea. Okay? Mike, do they have a transcript? They probably have a rough transcript, which you can give us if you have one. No, they didn't record it. I don't think they recorded it. Are there any recordings of it? I wish there were, because it is interesting stuff. Say it. I don't. We probably have some notes or something, but they have actually detailed notes, I would imagine. But we had a great conversation. It was a very heartfelt conversation. Well, I don't have to verify because I have one of the great memories of all time, so I don't have to. Okay? Yeah, but I don't want to discuss it. But what we did is we've had numerous discussions. We've had very important relationships established at Mike's level and other levels. In fact, a couple of people here from, as you know, from North Korea. They're in the room. We have a few people in the back also from the room. So when we went into this final agreement, very importantly, we really didn't go in cold. We went in with tremendous relationship and tremendous knowledge, and I think that's why we got it done. So I'm going to head back. I don't know about you folks, but it's been a long time since I've taken it easy. So now we can take it a little bit easy, and then the work begins again. And I appreciate everybody being here. I hope we've answered your questions. And thank you very much, and sort of congratulations to everybody, because this is really, to me, it's a very important event in world history. And to be really true to myself, I have to add, I want to get it completed. So Mike, our whole team has to get to work and get it completed, because otherwise, we've done a good job. But if you don't get the ball over the goal line, it doesn't mean enough, okay? So thank you, and sort of congratulations to everybody in the room. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
You're watching live video of President Trump at the microphone in Singapore, live at this hour. It's a 12-hour time difference, so it's 5:20 p.m. there right now. And in case you just joined us, the two leaders signed a document just after midnight agreeing to continue discussions. The U.S. agreeing to provide pledged security guarantees while North Korea pledged complete denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. We'll have details of this throughout the morning and also, of course, on Good Morning America as well. Now let's switch gears and go to John Scalzi for today's forecast.
Well, we're going to pretty much have a repeat of what we saw yesterday. There's not going to be much in the way of any kind of rainfall chance today, only about 20%. First along the coastline during the morning hours by 7 a.m. We'll have a 74-degree temperature. And then as we head into noontime, I think we'll start to see the beginnings of a shift of those showers, the few that do develop, from coastal regions to inland locations. And they'll start to grow and become stronger storms inland as we head into the afternoon hours with an 88-degree temperature. We'll look for about a 20% chance at 3 p.m. Then I think most all of those showers will have shifted far enough inland and out of our viewing area that I think we can safely reduce our rain chances as we head into the evening hours. Currently, we've got 1 or 2 showers pretty close to the coast near Anna Maria here. Otherwise, this line of showers continuing to lift northward isn't going to really bother the bulk of our area. This one lone shower just kind of touching Holmes Beach, heading up toward Anna Maria, bringing just a light shower across the region. Otherwise, I think your drive time should be fairly rain-free and mostly sunny. We still have this kind of wedge of drier air across central Florida. We have some cloud cover to the north of us and a general southerly wind helping to bring some cloud cover down from the south a little bit further to the north. So all in all, we'll look for a dry day today with a generally light westerly wind. With that light westerly wind, it'll take our sea breeze and push it far enough inland that most of the shower activity will occur there. You'll see that pop up again here on our surface map, our projection on our forecast map. High pressure, again, the dominant weather feature nosing across the peninsula and bringing us those fair skies. As we head into the evening, it's possible that 1 or 2 of the showers that built inland could drift back toward the coastline. We'll watch for that, but mostly sunny and dry for most of the week. Actually, don't really see a whole lot of change there. Calm in the tropics for the most part. We continue to watch an area of disturbed weather just off the coast of Nicaragua, and the Hurricane Center gives that area about a 20% chance of developing over a 5-day period. Not much of a chance over the next couple of days. Don't see much growth there. But if it did develop, it would most likely be in the Gulf waters. And as it lifts northward, it'll most likely head toward either Mexico or Texas. And we won't even know it's there. And it probably will never develop into a named storm, more just like a slug of moisture. Southwest wind coming in at about 10 knots. And then overnight tonight, we'll look for that northeast wind at about 5 knots. Forecast looks good. We'll look for an 89-degree temperature today. 20% chance of rain showers for the next several days. Maybe by the weekend, we'll start to bump up the rain chance a little bit as we have a little more chance of seeing those showers drift back toward our coastline. Temperatures throughout the period, about 89, 90 degrees. So warm week ahead, Ray.
Sounds like it. Thank you, John. An Illinois police officer has received a life-saving award after an heroic act. Let's watch this now. Dash cam footage shows a shocking sight. A toddler running by himself in the right lane of the highway. There goes Sergeant Anthony Menino. He pulled over and began chasing the boy, who ran away from him some more. Menino quickly caught up to the boy and pulled him out of harm's way. The police department says the child escaped his mother's watchful eye and left his home. Fortunately, the boy was safe and nobody else was injured in this incident. Wow. All right, 5:24. We'll have more news after this.
Who else has been taking your prescriptions? Keep your medicine and your family safe and secure. Mind your meds. To learn how we can help, visit the Partnership for Drug-Free Kids at drugfree.org.
I am the resident district manager on the FAU campus for Chartwell. Whenever I see Haley, I do not see a person with a disability. I see a person with extraordinary abilities. Haley is always smiling. She's always on time. She gives fantastic customer service and is always focused on any job that she's given.
Hi, this is Dan Marino. When your business recruits people with disabilities, everybody wins. To find out how, go to disabilitieswork.employflorida.com.
This is the story of a boy who is very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. It made him feel uncomfortable. One day, he found out he had something called autism. His family got him help, and slowly, he learned how to live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
There was this big bruise on my friend's face. I didn't want to see it. I didn't want to think her own nephew could have hit her.
I didn't want to see it. My mother's bank account was emptied, and a caregiver had taken control of it.
I didn't want to see it. My father's refrigerator. There was hardly anything in it. That's unusual for him.
It's tough to see that a senior citizen is being abused, physically, emotionally, sexually, or financially. Elder abuse is a crime.
So see the signs. Stop the crimes.
We've all heard how military veterans adjusting to the civilian world may have certain issues.
30. 78.
If only everyone had this issue. No matter what challenge they face, Easter Seals is here for America's veterans.
You now have the power to prioritize your Facebook feed and get local news and information from the team you trust. Go to the ABC7 Sarasota page on Facebook. Give us a like, then click following and choose See First. That's it. Customize even more by choosing notifications. Choose breaking news, posts, live videos, anything you want to see in real time. Take control of your newsfeed and stay connected to what's happening in your community with ABC7 on Facebook.
Her first court appearance after posting a 100.
A grandmother caught on camera letting a child out of a pet kennel faced a judge for the first time on Monday. It was a video that was shared on Facebook and went viral. Here it is. Limoni Cheeks was arrested and charged with child abuse and neglect for this video. Police say it was recorded Saturday. Cheeks admits to driving with her 7- and 8-year-old grandchildren locked inside 2 dog cages inside the SUV. The children told investigators Cheeks had them in the kennels because there wasn't any room in the SUV itself. She'll be back in court on July 9th. We'll have our day's top news headlines after this.
If you're only hungry for a slice of apple pie, why buy the whole pie? And you certainly wouldn't want to pay for an all-you-can-eat buffet. So if you don't use your cell phone that much, why get charged for a plan that's too big or even an unlimited plan? Luckily, there's still a wireless company that shares your values. Welcome to Consumer Cellular. Our average customer pays about $25 a month for everything they need. Many pay even less, as plans start at just $15 a month. You'll get a straightforward bill that's easy to understand with no surprises and all the attention you deserve from our friendly customer service team. No wonder Consumer Cellular has received the J.D. Power Award for highest customer service 4 times in a row. Plus, if you're an AARP member, you'll receive special discounts. It's easy to switch. You can even keep your phone and your number. So stop paying for more than you need and start your 30-day risk-free trial today. Call 800-457-2317, go online, or visit a Target store today.
I witnessed him have 2 heart attacks in ICU. He went through seizures.
We'd much rather have Aaron like this than dead. A lot of parents don't have that luxury.
He can't talk. He can't walk. This is a condition Aaron will live with for the rest of his life because he abused prescription pills.
Mind your meds. Learn more from the Partnership for Drug-Free Kids.
Thank you.
You got a king?
Go fish!
It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made her college years happen. Opening that education savings account when she was little. Spearheading a campus tour. And another, and another, and another, and another. Bam! Deciphering financial aid. She was like, what? Now she's like, you aced planning for college. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
Ever since I can remember, I've been intrigued by industrial design and the optimization.
Wait, that's passion? Ever since I can remember, my passion has been industrial design. We need 3D printers for Miss Adams' engineering program so that we are ready to solve 21st century challenges.
Impressive. Think It Up is a new initiative to support student-powered, teacher-led learning projects. Students and teachers, how can you spark great learning experiences in your classroom today? Think It Up.
You're watching Good Morning Suncoast at 5:30.
Unfortunately, it has a very tragic and sad ending.
A standoff is over in Central Florida. 4 kids are dead, as well as the man police say barricaded himself with them for nearly 24 hours. History is made across the globe as President Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un signed an agreement just after midnight Eastern time. What this means for both countries going forward. And time is running out to see an exhibit at Moat Marine. Those stories and much more this half hour on Good Morning Suncoast. Good morning, 5:32. I'm Ray Collins. Stephanie joins us at 6 o'clock this morning. It is June the 12th, Tuesday. Let's get the forecast from meteorologist John Scalzi.
So we're looking at some pretty quiet conditions again this morning. There is one lone shower that's about a mile offshore of Holmes Beach, and it's drifting to the north. Otherwise, a smattering of showers out in Gulf waters, really not impacting land all that much, and certainly I'm not issuing any commute warnings this morning in terms of weather. It looks pretty good for you this morning. A little bit of fair weather cloudiness streaming by from time to time, but no big deal really. We'll look for about a 20%, if that really, chance of showers along the coastline for the morning hours, and then everything shifts inland for the afternoon and early evening. Otherwise, daytime high temperatures will again be warm, coming in about average or a little above for this time of year at around 89 degrees. We'll have the complete forecast for you coming up in just a few.
All right, John, talk to you soon. Checking first alert traffic now. First off, here's the scene in Manatee County. Some buildups there on State Road 70 in the westbound lane as you head from the interstate toward 301. Otherwise, all clear in Manatee County. Let's check now the upper half of Sarasota County. Only red we see there is on Clark Road in the eastbound lane as you head toward the interstate near Palmer Ranch. Otherwise, pretty clear in northern Sarasota County. And then our final check to the south will indicate no real problems so far at 5:33 on your Tuesday morning. Well, just after midnight East Coast time, the leaders of the U.S. and North Korea signed an agreement. President Trump committed to provide security guarantees to North Korea, while Kim Jong-un pledged the complete denuclearization of the the Korean Peninsula, rather. Both leaders agreed to hold follow-up negotiations. Those will be held by Secretary of State Mike Pompeo and his North Korean counterpart, quote, at the earliest possible date.
The letter that we're signing is very comprehensive, and I think both sides are going to be very impressed with the result. A lot of goodwill went into this, a lot of work, a lot of preparation. I want to thank everybody on both sides, Secretary Pompeo and all of his counterparts. They were absolutely fantastic.
Both men signed their names under a statement that says they are committed to the promotion of peace, prosperity, and security of the Korean Peninsula and the world. We talked to a local expert on the Singapore summit, and he says the whole thing was very unusual from the start. Marla Spence explains. She's live now in the studio. Marla?
Good morning, Ray. Mark Weston, who is a presidential author and has also written about politics in the Far East, has predicted expectations of the summit could be very low. He says usually when two heads of states get together for an agreement, 90% of the negotiations have already been figured out and both leaders are just finalizing small points. Weston says that's not the case here, which makes this historic meeting quite unusual. He says the idea of a whole nuclear agreement being negotiated in a couple of days is naive. Weston says since preliminary negotiations were not discussed between President Donald Trump and Kim Jong-un, he says it could create some cause for concern between the two leaders.
I should add there's also the danger, since this agreement has not been negotiated, that one side could disappoint the other so much that they feel double-crossed and then tensions could increase.
And this morning, people all over the world, including Weston, are waiting in anticipation on what was exactly discussed during the summit and the details of that signed document. Back to you, Ray.
All right, thank you, Marla. 5:35 right now. Other news, there's a new policy nationwide when it comes to protection for victims of domestic violence and gang violence. Reporter John Lawrence explains.
Some asylum seekers hoping for help from the U.S. will face a new hurdle.
And we understand that all are due proper respect in court and the proper legal process. But we cannot abandon legal discipline and sound legal concepts.
Attorney General Jeff Sessions, who oversees immigration courts, says the White House is overturning protections for those seeking asylum from gang and domestic violence.
We have not acted hastily, but carefully. In my judgment, this will be a correct interpretation of the law.
After this change from the Department of Justice, victims of violence can only qualify for asylum if they can prove their native country will not protect them from additional danger. This new policy could prevent tens of thousands of immigrants who are seeking assistance from the U.S.
Asylum was never meant to alleviate all problems, even all serious problems that people face every day all over the world.
Critics of this move include the American Immigration Lawyers Association. In a statement, the nonpartisan, nonprofit organization said, "The Attorney General is inappropriately prejudging these cases and disregarding the principle that every single asylum case must be carefully considered on its own merits." The AILA also says it expects this case will be decided in court. I'm John Lawrence reporting.
More than 60,000 people from Honduras, Guatemala, and El Salvador applied for some form of asylum in 2016 alone. New developments in that standoff in Orlando that went on for almost 24 hours. Police say a man barricaded himself with 4 children. In the end, he killed the kids and himself. The man was named Gary Lindsay Jr. He barricaded himself inside an apartment with 4 children Monday morning. Police say 2 of those kids were his and 2 were his estranged girlfriends. The children ranged in age from 1 to 12.
That we realize that it's been a difficult day for our entire community and as well as those families, and I too offer our thoughts and prayers to them.
The Orlando police chief says an officer was shot in the eye during the standoff and his condition is now critical. Police say when they were originally called to the apartment by Lindsay's girlfriend, that it was due to a domestic dispute. On a lighter note now, time is running out to see an exhibit on the Suncoast that highlights the global marine debris crisis. The exhibit is called Sea Debris Awareness Through Art. It's at Moat Marine until Saturday. It features marine-inspired sculptures made of plastic and other debris gathered from Oregon's coast and transformed into art. The Washed Ashore nonprofit community art project has processed tons of plastic pollution from Pacific beaches to raise awareness on this ongoing issue. The exhibit also educates visitors on how marine debris can damage important habitats and how to keep trash out of the ocean. Still ahead, 2 big-time actors are coming together. The movie Gal Gadot and Dwayne Johnson plan to star in. That's coming up. But first, it is 5:39 right now. Here is a live picture of Singapore at 5:39 p.m. Certainly an historic place right now. The Singapore Summit is now over. We'll have details of that throughout the morning here on ABC 7, but also details of your weather forecast as well. John?
So we're looking at throughout the morning hour, it's about a 20% chance of a sprinkle or brief passing shower along the coastline. Then those rain chances will shift into inland areas. We've got one lone shower right there just off the coast of Anna Maria, producing a little bit of drizzle about a mile offshore particularly. That little area lifts northward, maybe tagging Anna Maria. Otherwise, pretty quiet. If you're going to take a little walk on the beach this afternoon or evening, I expect to see some red tide, especially from about Lido Key southward, with Minnesota being the hot spot for any kind of red tide, according to the Visit Beaches website of Moat Marine, where daily reports are being issued. Mostly sunny and dry today. We'll give it 3 beach balls out of 4, just because of that little bit of irritant that is in the air from our red tide. The complete forecast coming up in just a few.
Today, everyone is looking for carpeting that lasts longer. G. Fried has you covered with Karastan. With a legacy of quality and integrity, we provide you with a huge selection of Karastan carpets with exclusive lifetime limited warranties. All installed by our highly skilled, highly knowledgeable team. Come ask us why Karastan is the best and most durable. G-Freed Flooring America. Our world is at your feet.
This is your brain. This is drugs. This is your brain on drugs. Any questions?
Yeah, I have questions.
Prescription drugs aren't as bad as street drugs, right?
Weed's legal, isn't it?
Drinking is worse than smoking weed.
Isn't it? Why
is heroin so addictive?
Molly just makes you feel happy.
I have questions.
Mom?
Dad, did you ever try drugs?
They're going to ask. Be ready. Go to drugfree.org. A message from Partnership for Drug-Free Kids.
My name's Luke Perry, and I am 1 million strong. I'm in the fight against colorectal cancer because I believe we can win it. Colon and rectal cancers are the second leading cause of cancer deaths among men and women in the U.S. Colon cancer is preventable. Know the risk factors and make sure to get screened. There are simple, take-home options available. Take control of your health. Screening for colon cancer isn't embarrassing. It can be life-saving. To find out more about your options, visit fightcrc.org.
The ABC7 First Alert weather app just got even better. It's easy to use once you download it. First, tell the app to follow you, so you get alerts pinpointed to exactly where you are. Then customize your settings with all the places you go, from the beach to grandmother's house. Get accurate alerts for everyone you care about. You can even pick which weather alerts and categories you want and what they sound like. More ways to customize and more ways to keep your family safe. Download the ABC7 First Alert weather app today. When ABC7 declares a First Alert weather day, it means we can expect major changes to weather conditions here along the Suncoast.
It means there could be severe, potentially dangerous weather ahead.
We tell you when a First Alert weather day is coming because we want you to be prepared.
A First Alert weather day is an advance warning. We'll let you know about any changes in the weather when the first signs appear.
ABC7 First Alert weather. We're here for you.
My name is Haley. I have Fragile X syndrome. I work with Chartwells at Einstein's and FAU. I like being up front and interacting with students. The students are very nice and very hungry. Having a job is a big ticket for independence.
Hi, this is Dan Marino. When your business recruits people with disabilities, everybody wins. To find out how, go to disabilitieswork.employflorida.com.
Now your ABC7 First Alert weather forecast with meteorologist John Scalzi.
Another mostly sunny and dry day today. As we head into the afternoon, we'll watch our rain chances go from coastal regions to inland locations. A 20% chance near the coast by 9 a.m. Then as we head into noontime, our transition begins to inland locations. We're not going to change the rain chances much, just the location where the maximum rain chance might be. So by noon, it starts to move from coastline to inland areas, and then by around 3 p.m., I think it's going to be mostly in inland areas. Those rain chances will start to diminish as we head through the later afternoon and into the evening as the showers go further and further from the coastline. Forecast for this morning, again, about that 20% chance of a coastal shower. Right now, the closest to the coast will be around Holmes Beach and Anna Maria, where one lone shower is just starting to touch Holmes Beach with a little bit of light drizzle and rainfall. That lifts northward, maybe tagging Anna Maria as it does so. And otherwise, I think we won't see a whole lot in the way of anything to spoil your commute this morning, at least not weather-wise. Everything looks pretty good. A little bit of drier air again moving across the center part of the state of Florida, though that is in the process of moistening. Slowly a southerly wind, southwesterly wind aloft, helping to bring a little bit of fair weather cloudiness our way, but nothing that produces much in the way of rainfall. High pressure, the dominant weather feature for us. Again, a light westerly wind flow similar to yesterday. Showers and thunderstorms start near the coast, and then as we head into the afternoon, they become more apparent in inland areas. Then there might be just a slow drift back to the coastline as we head into the evening hours, enhancing rainfall chances for the, probably around midnight time frame. Mostly sunny and dry today, mostly dry for the remainder of the week, and fairly calm in the tropics. You know, we've had a lot of buzz on the internet about possible hurricanes coming up toward the center part of the state of Florida last week, but it looks like that's not going to be the case. We'll probably see this area of low pressure, broad low pressure, just to the east of Nicaragua, lift northward into the Gulf waters and gradually drift closer to the coastline of Mexico or Texas, producing kind of a wet weekend for them. Any kind of development would be slow to occur, and it would be pretty minor in nature. So we won't even notice any kind of motion from this system in the state of Florida. It will not impact our weather. The general consensus is about a 10% chance of development over the next several days, and then about a 20% chance over the extended period, 5 days or so, as it lifts off to the north and to the west. So we'll watch it and keep you posted should anything change, but the European forecast model pretty much pegs that as it lifts off toward the western Gulf waters. Now, for us, we will probably notice by the weekend a little increase in the chance of rainfall along our west coast as we start to see a more easterly wind flow or southeasterly wind flow that'll butt up against our sea breeze and help produce that lift necessary to produce the afternoon shower. So we'll watch for that as we head into the weekend particularly. Southwest wind comes in at about 10 knots. We'll watch for 2-foot seas, smooth conditions on your bay and inland waters. We'll have a couple of tides today, an 11:15 high tide, a low tide at 7:42, and another high tide after midnight at 2:02. Today, about 89, same thing tomorrow, day after that. Pretty much a warm period with about a 20% chance of rain showers each day. First along the coastline, then more particularly in inland areas. Then over the weekend, we'll bump up the rain chance a little bit into next work week because of the potential of a few more showers along the coastline. Ray?
Thank you, John. Checking first alert traffic in Manatee County. We'll find out there's some slowdowns there on 301 southbound as you head from State Road 70 down toward University. Also a delay on Cortez in the eastbound lane and up there at State Road 64, Manatee Avenue West in the westbound lane. Farther south now in the northern half of Sarasota County, nothing really in the red besides one little blip there. I hate to call it a blip, but just a little thing there at the 301-41 juncture. And having said that, some more red emerges there at the southbound area as you pass the Ringling Causeway and that unconditional surrender statue. And then our final map for the south will indicate nothing really to speak of right now at 5:48 on this Tuesday morning. The Federal Reserve is poised to raise interest rates tomorrow for the second time this year. Policymakers signaled last month they would raise rates if the economy kept performing as expected. The Fed is expected to bump up the federal funds rate by 1/4 percentage point. Now, while a rate hike on Wednesday seems certain, policymakers are closely divided whether to raise rates a total of 3 times or 4 times this year. When you think of film critics, the late Roger Ebert and Gene Siskel may come to mind. But since they have both passed away, who exactly is it that is watching and reviewing films these days? A study by the University of Southern California found most movie critics are white and male. They looked at critics who are currently employed by professional print, broadcast, or online publications. The school says white critics wrote 82% of the reviews of the top films of 2017, and 78% of them were male. 2 big screen heavyweights are teaming up now. David Daniel has that and more in today's Hollywood Minute.
It's very exciting.
Wonder Woman takes on The Rock. Gal Gadot has signed to star in Red Notice opposite Dwayne Johnson. The film, described in Hollywood trade papers as a globe-trotting action comedy heist thriller, is set to begin filming next April in Europe, with a release date of June 2020.
Most quiet, Kayla Day.
I don't talk a lot at school, but if people talk to me and stuff, they'd find out that I'm like really funny and cool and talkative.
A youth movement in Seattle. The indie film 8th Grade took top honors at the Seattle International Film Festival, winning Best Film and Best Actress for its young star, Elsie Fisher. Won't You Be My Neighbor, about iconic children's television star Fred Rogers, won Best Documentary. Reggae star Ziggy Marley has kicked off his Rebellion Rises world tour, supporting his album of the same name. If you find yourself listening to the disc a lot, you're not alone.
Out of all my albums, this is the only album I can listen to
from back to front, and I can listen to it like multiple times. So that's I don't know what that says, but that's what it is, you know.
In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
All right, 5:50 right now. Here's a live shot of Singapore at 5:50 p.m. Historic discussions overnight while you slept. The leaders of North Korea and the U.S. signed a deal just after midnight East Coast time. We'll tell you about that and have more news coming up next on Good Morning Suncoast.
My name is Stephen Jaffe. The law firm's name is Farmer Jaffe. One of the beautiful things about Julius is he's always smiling, and it becomes infectious. The fact that Julius has a disability has absolutely nothing to do with the quality of work that he's done. Just a great person you want on your staff.
Hi, this is Dan Marino. When your business recruits people with disabilities, everybody wins. To find out how, go to disabilitieswork.employflorida.com.
Soldiers in the Army National Guard serve to give back to their country and communities. Their part-time commitment qualifies them for an array of benefits, such as affordable health and life insurance benefits, education benefits, including tuition assistance, student loan repayment, and GI Bill programs, a retirement plan based on part-time service, and VA home mortgages. Visit NationalGuard.com to learn more about all the benefits available in the Army National Guard.
Meet Blue. Blue's not feeling well. The prescription? Generic medication. Blue wonders, do they really work as well as name brands? Yes, generics and name brand medications do work the same. Even though they may look different, generics have the same key ingredients. FDA approval is equally rigorous for generics to make sure they're as safe and effective as name brands. And Blue even saves some green, making him a little less, well, blue. Talk to your doctor about generics and visit fda.gov/generic drugs.
Iguanas only reproduce 1 month out of the year.
That's because they suffer from erectile dysfunction.
According to the Department of Homeland Security, what color represents the lowest threat level?
Is Caucasian a color?
Which casino game has the best odds for a payout?
The ATM.
Funny you should ask.
Weekdays at 4:30 and 11:30 on ABC 7.
Thank you.
What are you doing? You are the best protection she has. Buddy up. I'm Jill Harrington. Please visit HelpSaveTheNextGirl.com and get involved.
I took my first handful of pills, and that's when all my priorities seemed to change.
He would ask to use the bathroom in other people's homes.
He just assumed that they would have medication.
He'd go in their medicine cabinets and steal prescription drugs.
I wish I knew really what these prescription pills were.
We were so naive about the whole drug thing.
These are all synthetic forms of heroin.
Keep your medication locked up because you'll never notice that a pill is gone.
Mind your meds. Learn more from the Partnership for Drug-Free Kids.
Shot outside our studio as you awaken on this Tuesday morning. It is 5:54 right now, and we'll have John's forecast in just a few seconds here. Let's get to the top news headlines as you wake up now. Well, President Trump pledged security guarantees, and North Korea's Kim Jong-un has committed to the complete denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula, a new word in our vernacular now. The Singapore summit is now over. They signed a deal just after midnight East Coast time, agreeing to continue discussions as well. The city of Northport introduced a finalist for police chief in a meet and greet last night at City Hall. The previous chief retired earlier this year. The city expects a decision sometime next week. Plus, the federal government will give $13 million to help rebuild Lido Beach. This comes 2 weeks after the city declared a state of emergency due to the lack of sand. Next hour, more rowing championships are coming to Nathan Benderson Park. We'll tell you which events are now booked. And we've all heard the saying, what you are is what you eat, or what you eat is what you are. What health officials are suggesting the types of foods you can use as medicine. And one former president is marking his 94th birthday. But first, let's get one last peek at the forecast for the hour. Here's John Scalzi.
Ray, thanks very much. We have a couple of weather highlights for you to take away today. Lots of sunshine, warm conditions. Temperatures actually running about average for this time of year, but it feels pretty hot because we don't have those cooling rains. Only isolated showers for the remainder of the week, except inland where your rain chances will be better. Warm and dry, but we do have some changes coming up in the forecast down the road, and we'll be discussing that in detail coming up in about 10 minutes.
All right, talk to you soon. Thank you, John. We'll have more of John's forecast and update the summit in Singapore all next hour right here on Good Morning Suncoast.